Today on Facing Life Head On.
We feel that if we have 2,000 car washes and raise $1 million, that's going to make a splash.
Our cameras took us to Falls Church, Virginia, where we met 4 college students who had packed their bags and moved across the nation with a plan to organize a nationwide car wash. Their goal? To raise $1 million for crisis pregnancy centers and demonstrate that youth all across America are proud to be pro-life. We're in your corporate office, the international headquarters, because you are having international participation. So give us a little lowdown on where you're working from.
Well, we call it an office, but it's really sort of my basement. It's my house here in Falls Church, Virginia. We're all students at Thomas Aquinas College in California. At the end of May, after graduation, John and I got in a car with my pet fish Napoleon sitting in our little cup holder, and we started driving across country. Made it all the way here and started work shortly after Ingrid and Hillary showed up.
Did Napoleon make it too?
Napoleon is in the bowl right over there. Yeah. He is alive and kicking.
Yeah.
You guys have a pretty neat pro-life project going on nationwide. Tell us about it.
Well, we're starting a project called the Wash for Life. And what it is we are organizing hopefully thousands of youth groups across the country to all on the same day, September 16th, hold car washes in their local communities. 100% of the money they raise will go to their local pregnancy care center, and then we will hopefully gather the data and present a media story that says that this is a pro-life generation and that youth all across America are willing to do something to help the pro-life cause.
How much money do you hope to raise?
$1 million would be the ideal.
$1 million bucks. That's our goal.
Well, how we're figuring that is if we have 2,000 car washes and they each raise $500, which isn't all that much. We've heard of groups that raise as much as $20,000 in one car wash in one day. But if each group can raise 500 and we have 2,000, that's $1 million.
Whoever drives into that car wash, every bit of their money will go to support a woman who's facing a crisis pregnancy and doesn't know what to do.
That's great.
And that's what we want. We want to try to start having the pro-life movement focus more on helping women in their communities. That's one thing we think youth can do, and that we have a feeling they probably would want to do it if they knew how to do it. So the Wash for Life is just one way of showing them how they could do it.
So you want them to get active in their own local communities then?
Yeah. That's right. So, because it's their friends, it's teens going into these centers. If people know more and more about the center, they can pass on the resources. If you're in trouble, you go to your friend. And if you see your friend doing something cool on September 16th for this center, then you're more likely to go to them maybe. So I don't know, I think God can work in a great way.
It'll be really neat because there'll then be a relationship between some of the youth and their local center, a relationship that might not be there yet. We know that in some cases youth groups are volunteering at centers with babysitting hours and things like that. But we hope that this will build relationships. We hope that someone from the center will go to the car wash, be able to answer questions, be able to help educate the youth, and that this will be just the beginning of a real friendship and a real relationship where this youth group will be able to do many things to help out the center.
So you want to tell America through this project that your generation doesn't like what it sees from abortion?
Yeah, that's a good point. But hopefully more than just saying that we don't like abortion, we want to say that we love women and children, and that we think they're important, and that we're willing to give up time and raise money and come alongside them and help them out so that they do choose to have a child. We really want this to be positive. We don't want this to be negative. We want this to be less, it is anti-abortion, but less focused on that and more focused on just caring about people and just loving people. and doing everything we can to support them and care for them.
So you guys are the organizers. You're putting this all together. It's the first time, so it's going to be a lot of work. What's an average day like for you in the office?
Each of us kind of have our own jobs that we focus on. I work with the website. Hillary works contacting different youth groups. Ingrid does pretty much everything. She's all over the place, kind of keeping us organized, working on a lot of the business side of it. John's doing a lot with the political part in the media. So we all as we got going, we kind of
the task.
kind of all got our own little niche.
Well, what made you pick, say, a car wash over other potential fundraising ideas?
Just seemed to make sense. This is what youth do to raise money, and it's also a lot of fun. It's a blast to go out there and spray each other with water. We have a good time with it, so I hope that people enjoy doing it.
And it's a very easy event to organize. The people who participate, all they have to do is set up one car wash one day. It doesn't get much simpler than that. But in doing that, you're participating in this nationwide event that hopefully is going to raise a lot of money and a lot of awareness for these centers that really need it.
One of the main goals is to just show that our youth is pro-life and to just get that out there and get them involved so that they will be heard. Because youth want to be heard and they want to stand behind something. And this is something they can stand behind and they can do.
What we're hoping is that having done one project, now they're going to have the idea like, oh wow, this is great, let's do something else, and come up with their own things, because we're all working for the same deal, and there's lots of different ways of doing it. So
go get your car washed on September 16th, or sign up and run your own.
When we come back, we catch up with a group of college students who say they're saving lives one step at a time. Our story took us to Columbus, Ohio, where we caught up with 8 students who months before set out on a 3,200-mile cross-country journey, a journey they're making on foot. It's called Crossroads, a yearly pilgrimage that encourages young people to publicly speak out about the value of life. My first question is are you guys crazy to walk from San Francisco to Washington, D.C.?
Well, it does seem pretty crazy, but I think we were given the confidence knowing that it's been done 11 years in the past and that it can be done.
Why are you and so many other college students doing this?
Well, I think it's because we believe very strongly that the culture in this country is not going in a good direction, and that we would like to bring about a culture of life, a culture in which all life is respected.
So how many hours a day do you walk?
Well, we have a night shift and a day shift, and each shift typically walks about 10 hours each. So total, we'll be walking about 20 hours a day.
It's really important to have a strong group dynamic. So no, 24 hours a day we're not walking, it's about 20 hours a day, and those other 4 are done with meals and prayer, mass and things like that.
And while the one shift is walking, the other shift is sleeping.
Do you sleep on the RV then, in shifts?
During the first couple weeks, we stayed in the RV, but our RV broke down and had to get a new engine actually partway through the walk. So while it was in the shop for about 2 weeks, we stayed in people's houses and in parishes that were willing to put us up. And after we got it back, we entered Missouri, where it was very, very hot and humid. So since then, we've been trying to stay with people that we know and people who are willing to put us up in their homes. And on the weekends, we do that as well, stay in people's homes.
What's the typical reaction you get from the person on the street?
For the most part, I'd say at least 15 to 1, it's positive.
What types of things along the walk do you do to promote pro-life?
On the weekends, and sometimes during the week actually as well, we speak in parishes. We've spoken to youth groups, Knights of Columbus groups, like county pro-life groups, pretty much anyone who wants us to talk, as well as media coverage, just to try to get the message out to as many people as possible. And plus just impromptu conversations along the road and at gas stations and things. Yeah.
I think what we like to encourage all people is just to stand up, because if everyone who is pro-life would stand up and say I'm pro-life, there would be a change in the United States.
And that pro-life extends beyond abortion. It extends to the elderly and embryonic stem cell research. The other thing that I would like to add, just kind of going on what Nicole said, she was talking about how you should stand up for what you believe in, and not to be afraid to say that you're pro-life. But in addition to that, anything that you can do can save a child, like you were just saying. So there's just so many ways to get involved, but just really encouraging people to do that, not be afraid to do that, to dedicate some time to save others.
When we return, we meet this pro-life rocker.
Life begins when it begins, and killing human life is wrong.
Whether you're a student needing answers, a parent needing help, or a concerned citizen wanting to make a difference, Life Issues Institute has the resources you need to put your values into action. Life Issues Institute is an international educational organization committed to protecting innocent human life. Life Issues Institute knows what it takes. That's why millions throughout the world turn here for help. Life Issues Institute has authored more pro-life publications than any other entity in the world, and its materials are printed in over 30 languages. Radio broadcasts, newsletters, and a website filled to the brim with the answers you're looking for are just a click away. Go to facinglife.tv and click on the link to Life Issues Institute to find out more about how you can change the heart of a nation.
We caught up with musician Eric Whittington on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. Eric heads Rock for Life, a pro-life youth organization that uses music to educate and activate young people on pro-life issues. For the former pro-abortion rocker, he's come full circle.
I wasn't born, Christian. I'm not like a pastor's kid or anything like that. I actually was pro-abortion because in the few instances where, a girlfriend would say, hey, I think I'm pregnant, I would say, well, take the test, and if you are pregnant, you will get an abortion, end of discussion. I didn't want any kids to, get in my way of being a, rock star or whatever like that. One day, out of the blue, I'm cruising through town, and there's a huge pro-life demonstration where thousands of people are holding signs that say, abortion kills children. And seeing that, seeing abortion kills children, abortion kills children, abortion kills children, I realized that that is a simple truth. Life begins when it begins, and killing human life is wrong. And so I think it was just something that I was denying, a simple truth that I was denying for my own convenience. And so that just had a radical impact on my life. I became an instant pro-life activist. I pulled my car to the side, I asked for a pro-life sign, I immediately put it in my car, and abortion kills children. Well, if it does, then I have to do something about it.
That's when Rock for Life began. Eric set out to use his new passion for life and his love of music to reach young people.
Back on the West Coast, I was a musician, and kids always want to talk to you, after you play shows, and so you just talk to them about, what's on your heart, and that is about abortion.
Do you think music is a good way to communicate to this young generation a pro-life point of view?
Oh, absolutely. Young people love music. Young people generally, I'm a fan of hardcore, I'm a fan of screamcore, I'm a fan of this or that, so everyone's like in this little niche, so definitely, it's powerful. Who buys music? Who, buys CDs? Who downloads off iTunes? Who downloads music illegally? It's young people, it's young adults. So this is a medium that has to be used, and it is being used, and it must be used even more and more, or we're not going to win the battle for the soul of America.
Do you think the music industry is trying to influence these young people to be pro-choice on abortion?
I'm not sure if they're really, there's a, some head guy going, oh, I'm gonna, get your... That industry is pervaded generally throughout the years with, people who believe in abortion and, just various other evils. But now what's awesome is what we're seeing are these bands that have been involved with Rock for Life for years are now breaking into MTV, and it's great.
Eric says his goal is to encourage musicians to use their gifts for good.
Anyone on a stage or anyone, writing lyrics on a record, they have a huge influence, and so we all have a responsibility to look out for our fellow man. And by going out there and using your music to promote evils like abortion or pornography or whatever, I mean, obviously it's not cool,
Well, is that the goal then of Rock for Life, is to get the pro-life message out to young people through music?
Yeah, I mean, that would be, a primary goal. I mean, ultimately you want to see evils like, abortion and euthanasia and infanticide, be done with, be made illegal. But our means to doing that as an organization would be music, and at the same time direct activism. And we should definitely be actively praying, but we should also be actively out there telling the truth about abortion. And sometimes it's uncomfortable to go on the corner of a street and hold a sign that says abortion kills children. But you know what? Thousands of people did that on one summer day in Portland, and that changed my life, and that changes a lot of people's life. I don't think we realize that. So we need to step out of our comfort zone and go out on the streets and proclaim the truth. And that's kind of what we're about too. We use music as a means to educate, but also once we educate, what do we do with these kids? We got to send them to the streets and change some hearts and minds.
Well, what's your message, Eric, to people to bands specifically, who profess a pro-abortion message in the lifestyle that it brings?
What's my message to them? It'd probably be the same message as anything else. I mean, or anyone else. I mean, look at the science. Science tells us that. When did you and I start? We started off when our father's sperm fertilized our mother's egg. I mean, yeah, that sounds gross and disgusting or whatever, but that's science. That's when our lives began. And so we have science, and then the other side then